What's up everyone? In today's video I'm going to go over the top 3 things I think everyone should be able to do / know in order to get into Ultimate Champion. The new season is just about to start, so I want to help as many people out as I can to try to get to the next rank. Alright, starting off at number 1, the first thing I think people should do if they're trying to reach Ultimate Champion is to play a lot of classic challenges. They're only 10 gems each. They're a great way to practice new decks and play against a variety of different opponents. I think if you are trying to get to Ultimate Champion, you should be able to get 12 wins pretty often. I think that's pretty much the bare minimum requirement, I would say. But this is a great way to improve at the game without having to get tilted or mad while playing ranked. All the card levels are the same, so you can play any cards. This is how I personally grinded the game until I was ready to try to push to Ultimate Champion. So I think this is a great way for everyone to get practice in. I think everyone should be doing this if they're really dedicated to trying to hit Ultimate Champion. The video playing in the background is the 12th win in a Grand Challenge. Grand Challenges do cost 100 gems. They're a lot more difficult than Classic Challenges. You do face a lot more higher ranked players. But yeah, I'm just going to hop straight back into this game. So this is a really tough matchup against Evo P.E.K.K.A, Evo Gob Giant. So I'm trying to play really passive here. He does play his Evo, or his just regular Gob Giant, so I do Hog Rider the opposite lane. I want to get damage in the opposite lane so I can push either way, because he's going to want to try and push same lane with me. So I cycle a Firecracker in the back, and then a Cannon. And I play my Mighty Miner to stop the Goblin Giant from being able to hit the Cannon. The Goblin Machine. And I get 0 damage on that, which is very good. And I also get a Firecracker shot. So right now I realize the game is getting pretty close to double elixir, and I know he has his P.E.K.K.A in hand, so I don't want to be too aggressive and play my Hog Rider, because then he's going to get a pretty big counter push. So I just start off with my E-Spirit, and then I Earthquake, just trying to wait as long as possible before I really play anything. He still doesn't play anything, so I play my Hog Rider with the Firecracker behind, because I know he's going to play the P.E.K.K.A. And then now I just have to worry about defense, and I know this is going to be a pretty big push. So I'm just getting set up, cycling some cards, and then playing Mighty Miner in the back so I get my 3-card cycle. And then I'm going to play my Firecracker in the back. First I'm going to Hog Rider and then play my Firecracker. So now I'm 2 cards away from Hog Rider, so I can push again if I need to. And he has to spend elixir to defend my Hog Rider. And I'm already cycled back to another Cannon. And just like that, log everything away, and I take just a little bit of damage, and that's an easy cleanup for the win. Alright, hopping into tip number 2, I want to talk about just core gameplay ideas that I think most people need to learn or get really good at before hitting Ultimate Champion. So the first thing I want to talk about is elixir counting. And I think there's a really big misconception about how people think elixir counting works. A lot of people think top pros always know the opponent's elixir. They're counting it every 3 seconds. They know, when the opponent gets another elixir. So I just want to go over a simple way of how I count elixir. So when I play a card and then let's say the opponent defends it. So if I play a Hog Rider for 4 elixir and the opponent plays a Cannon for 3 elixir, I know the opponent is up 1 elixir. Okay, I don't keep track of the exact amount. All I know is when I look at my elixir bar and I see I'm at 8, I know the opponent's at 9. And I keep carrying that through every time I play a card, every time they play a card to defend it. I'm doing the quick math in my head, and I'm looking at my elixir bar, and I'm always knowing the difference, the differential amount of elixir that we have. And I know this gets really overwhelming when there's a lot of cards being played. Like, for example, when you look at the background of this video, it gets really hard to start counting and understanding how much elixir your opponent has. It does take a lot of practice and a lot of mental math in order to keep a track of your opponent's elixir like this. So I'm not sure if this is how everyone does it. This is just how I do it. So I would definitely practice with classic challenges, like I said earlier, maybe playing against friends. If you can't count everything your opponent plays and subtract it by everything you play, just focus on a few things. You know, understand a couple of trades, like every time you play a goblin barrel and your opponent logs that, just know they're up 1 elixir and keep track of that. By doing this, it's going to put you so far ahead of your opponents. You're going to have so much of an easier time counter pushing and understanding when you should go in versus when you need to defend. So I would really recommend that you make sure you're very good at this if you are trying to push to a higher rank. Now I want to talk about card cycling. And card cycling is something everyone talks about, everyone knows about. It's a very important part of the game. So my biggest tip is to know what your opponent's playing. So you know what your opponent uses to counter whatever deck you're playing. If you're playing Log Pay, if you're playing Hog Rider, if you're playing a beatdown deck, know what type of counters your opponent has to your deck. So that way you can always keep track of when they play a card and when you need to outcycle them. So this is mostly 4 cycle decks, but you should always know if you play a Hog Rider and your opponent plays a cannon, that they're going to be 4 cards away from playing another cannon, unless they have a 3-card cycle. So if you can play your cards and get back to another Hog Rider, which in the gameplay I have on screen is a Hog Rider versus Hog Rider matchup in top 10k of ranked. So you should always know when you can outcycle your opponent. Another big thing is making sure your opponent doesn't outcycle you. So a lot of times if you see your opponent play like a Hog Rider and they start cycling their cards in the back, you might want to also start cycling your cards because you're going to need to get back to another cannon or else they will outcycle you. The order you play your cards has a huge impact on the game. So make sure you have a reason to what you play first. So if you are trying to play a defense with, let's say, Hog EQ, sorry, a lot of my examples are Hog EQ. I am a Hog EQ player. I'm also a Log Bait player. So if you're going against a beatdown deck, a lot of times you'll see pro players play a cannon first, and then they'll start cycling their cards like a Mighty Miner, like a Firecracker. And the reason is if the opponent used a big spell, like a lightning or a fireball, then they can cycle back to another cannon. In something like a Lava Hound matchup, a lot of times when an opponent plays a Lava Hound, I like to play a Firecracker in the corner, same lane as the Lava Hound, and then play Hog Mighty Miner opposite lane. So that way I'm already 2 cards closer to my next Firecracker, so if the opponent does decide to go for an Arrows or a Fireball on my Firecracker, I will just need to play 2 cycle cards like Skeletons or my E-Spirit or Ice Spirit or whatever spirit, and then I'm back to another Firecracker while the opponent still has to deal with the push in the opposite lane. So the order of the cards you play has a huge impact. Make sure you're really focusing on what order you should be playing these cards. Final skill I think everyone should focus on if they're trying to get to Ultimate Champion, and this one specifically applies to champions, and that will be 3-card cycle. So when your opponent has a champion, you need to understand when they play their champion in the back, they're going to have that 3-card cycle. They're going to be able to outcycle you if they are playing a cycle deck. So you need to either cycle even faster or figure out other ways to defend. In a lot of my games, you're going to see that I start off with a Mighty Miner in the back instead of just playing a Hog Rider when I'm at full elixir, and that's because I want that 3-card cycle. So by the time the Mighty Miner starts to walk up, I am at 10 elixir again. I can play a Hog Rider, I can play an Earthquake, and then I need to cycle 2 cards, and then I'm back to another Hog Rider before the opponent can get back to their cannon or anything like that. So it's a great way to outcycle your opponent. But you also need to understand if your opponent also has a 3-card cycle, that they might be able to outcycle you. Or if both of you have champions, you might need to play your champion when they play their champion. The third and final part to this video that I want to talk about is the overall mental aspect of Clash Royale. you're gonna lose some games. It happens. Not every matchup is a good matchup. There's times where I've lost probably 8 games in a row in ranked and completely lost my mind. It sucks, but it's gonna happen. Not every matchup is a good matchup. Not every game is a good game. Right now on screen, this is a battle log history from the very beginning of the season of me losing 3 straight games to the exact same deck. I hate Evo Witch Graveyard. I hate that deck. I'm so glad that they're nerfing it. It sucked. Made me take a pretty long break from Clash Royale. But I came back, won a lot of games, got back into top 10K. And currently, as the season's about to finish, I am still sitting in the top 10K. So just take breaks. Understand that not every matchup is a good matchup. You get unlucky sometimes. It happens. Just keep practicing. Alright, that's all the tips I have. So make sure you leave a like and subscribe and comment down below what you'd like to see in future videos. Thank you so much.